Hey guys, welcome back. This is Brady and this is Brady's Workshop and Deli. So today what we're going to be working on is we're going to be replacing old doors in a house and putting new shaker style doors in. And so we're going to go through a step-by-step process on how to do this and just take it step by step. And it's not a difficult thing to do, and it is a major upgrade to any home. So here we go. Let's get started. Okay, so you can see the differences that we have here between these two doors. So this door here is your typical builder grade door. It's a 6-panel door. It's hollow, doesn't weigh much at all. It's essentially made out of cardboard. It is good for what it is. It's a builder grade door. So we're just going to do an upgrade here. We've purchased solid doors like this, and we're going to have to put the hinge plates on and drill out for the doorknob. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do that process. But this is a very good upgrade for any home, is to upgrade the doors, and it really does change it a lot. So, all right, guys. So here's what we're going to need today. We've got our tools laid out here. So we're going to need a drill, a router. You can use a large router. I've got this little handheld router, which is perfect for a job like this. And then a couple jigs. So one of our jigs is going to be for the hinge plates. And then for the doorknob itself, we have this jig here with a couple hole saws that come. These are our tools, and let's start the process and get going. All right, so the first thing we're going to be doing here is we're going to be taking the old door. We're going to be taking the doorknob off and all the hinge plates and start getting our measurements. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to take our measurement. And the measurement that we're going to take first is a crucial one, and that's going to be the width of the door. We want to make sure the width of this door matches our new door, because sometimes they are cut down, and we need to replicate that because we're not changing out the door frame itself, we're just changing the door. All right. So I'm going to take this measurement from the top, middle, and bottom just to make sure nothing goofy happened. So this is a consistent measurement here. Okay, so we know 29 5/8. This is an old door. We're going to be cutting this door up and getting it in the trash and out of here so we can mark on it. So 29 5/8. And then we need to do our height measurement. So 79 3/4. So I know this door is 80 inches. That's the standard with it, and it's also 30 inches wide. So we're going to have to cut both the height and the width of that door. As I mentioned, the length of this door is 79 3/4 inch. So they have taken a 1/4 inch off. There's a difference now in the basement where this door is going, in that they have installed new carpet. So with that, this door, before I took it off, the bottom of it, it was almost impossible to open. So we're going to have to take a little more off the bottom, and we're going to ease into that process. So we're not going to try to overcut it and leave a big gap at the bottom, because we can take it off and cut the bottom. Now, in order to do that without making any mistakes with the hinge plates that we're going to be putting these back up, we're going to have to take all of our measurements off of the top. All right, so do not take measurements off the top and then go back to the bottom, because this is a shorter distance. You do not want to do that. You want to take all your measurements off the top, because we will not be cutting the top at all. All right, so let's get those measurements. And when we measure this, we're going to be measuring to the center of the hinge plate. All right. All right, so now we have all of our measurements from this. Let's get one last measurement with the door handle. Same thing, we're going to measure from the top. Let's get rolling.
King of the road, trailer for sailoring. Trailer for sailoring. Ain't got no cigarettes, but trailer for sailoring.
When you're doing this process, is you can often get confused on which side is the outside, which is the inside, where the hinge is going, the lineup, all that. So what I do is I mark where my hinges are going, the side that my hinges are going, where the doorknob's going. It's also important to know which side's top. On the 6-panel doors, you can get confused. This one's easier. But the reason I do that, this is always going to be the outside of the door. All right. So I know there's going to be, it's how my system works. So I don't get confused when I move the door around of what side is what. Anyway, so now that I've cut both sides on the table saw, I'm going to have to take a router bit and use a soft, a round over bit and just go over all these sides to make sure that there's no sharp edges. Not that difficult, just another step in the process. So now we have the width cut. Now I'm going to cut the length, and then we'll move on to the hinge plates. You don't have to take off too much, but remember we have the carpet too. So we're going to raise that anywhere between 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 of an inch. And again, like I mentioned, if that's not enough, we can come back and shave a little more off of it. Not a big deal. It is a little bit more work, but I would rather come back and do that than cut too much off and this beautiful door looks like crap forever. So it's worth doing it that way and backing your way into it. So let's get our track saw out. Okay, perfect clean cut.
Nice.
Is before I put the hinge jig on and cut out, it's going to be easier for me to go ahead and round all this over. So especially on the other side, I have a clean cut all the way through. So we're going to go ahead and do that.
That trailer for sailoring ain't got no cigarettes, but trailer for sailoring.
All right, so we're going to get our measurements here and get our hinge plates going. Okay, so on my jig here, if you can see this, when I put, it's got these notches right here, and if we can see that, see how it gives the different dimensions of the door. So what it does is it has a center mark line right here. But when you put it up here, even when I've made my mark, so my mark on here is like right here. So even when I do that, it's not right on it. So it's really hard to tell. And the way these hinge plates sit in, it's really tight. I mean, there's not a lot of give there. So I have measured on here from the center line to this edge, and I believe it is 4 and... what was it, 4 7/16? Okay, so if we're zoomed in here, you can see there's 2 marks. So the first mark here is the middle of our hinge plate, or the middle of our hinge where it's gonna go. And this is
rock and roll
4 7/16 mark. And the reason I do that mark is because it's easier to get that perfect alignment. All right, if I just butt that up right there to that mark. Now, if I just put them the right way, it would work better. There we go.
Trailer for sailoring. Trailer for sailoring. Ain't got no trailer for sailoring. Give man of me by no means. Give it a roll. Trailer for sailoring. Trailer for sailoring.
Okay, so I want to go a little deeper. That's what she said.
Don't pay. Trailer for sailoring. Rooms to let. Trailer for sailoring. Ain't got no trailer for sailoring. Give man of me by no means. Give it a roll.
Okay, so we got a countersink bit here, so you can see, and our hinge plate. So our hinge plate, we want to make sure the top's up, but we're just going to countersink right now. All right, so here we are doing the final step of putting the hinges on. So when you put the hinges on, make sure that you've got the cap of it facing up so the hinge doesn't fall out. That's a common mistake. All right, so here we are on the final item that we need to do as far as the hardware on this door. So now we're going to put the doorknob on. With that, I need the doorknob. Now, if you remember, we're taking all of our measurements from the top down, and the door handle is no different. And so I think we were at 44 inches to the center. So we're going to go down here and we're going to hit our 44 inches. If our door handle wants to come out here. There we go. All right, get rid of the trash. Or as some people like to say, we'll get rid of the Purdue.
He did it. He really did it.
We do that. There are 2 screw holes here. Those would match up for the larger plates. They would match up for these larger plates. All right. Here, but I'm not using that. We're just going to use the thin one because I really don't want to route out that plate. So if I don't have to, I'm not going to. All right, so let's put our shims in here. Let's see where we're at. Now, we're going to drill the plunge hole going down first. Just like that. So we're going to use our arbor, put it in here. And with this, we're going to drill on one side, and then when the tip of the bit here goes through the other side, we will come from the other side. That way we don't get any tear out on the back side of this. There you have it. There's our hole. So, because of friction, these little things, these hole saws can get hot. So in order to get it off, I'm going to use a towel. Use a towel to hold it. Take that nut off. So as you can see, this isn't overly complicated if you have the tools. I mean, if you've got a router bit and you buy a couple of these jigs, you can get a lot done. All right, so now we're going this way. All right, we'll work on getting that wood out later. Okay, as I mentioned, we're just going to use the small thing on this, so we've got to pry this apart. When you're prying this apart, you can see right here, there's a little slot here to put your screwdriver in, and just twist it. And then it'll eventually come out. And then when you're taking it out, you can see these little grooves right here. They fit in there nice and easy to get them out. All right.
King of the road, trailer for sailoring. Trailer for of sailoring. Ain't got no cigarettes, but trailer of sailoring. Give me, don't pay no.
Okay, so now you see that is how we get the hardware on for a brand new door. Now let's go get it installed and see how we did. Okay guys, all right guys, so a couple things here as we wrap up this door and get it hung. A couple tricks that you might have seen these at the hardware store. These are just bags, kind of like the, who was it, D Brown pump up his Reeboks. Same concept. So these are just bags, you pump them up, and what they'll do is they'll raise that door up, or they have a little button on it right here, and when the pressure of the door's on it, it will bring it down a little bit. So it's a great way when you're working by yourself to get a door hung, or if you're working with somebody else. It's just a great way to get those fine movements. Good. Okay, so now's the moment of truth of if this door gets to stay or if we got to take it down and cut any of it off and redo what we've done. So here we go, moment of truth. Nice. So we need to bump out this a little bit, and then we will fix this gap over here. So not bad. We'll bump out this plate and push this door a little bit further. Not as tight as I would like it, but we will even it out, and we have new trim and everything going around here, so we can work with this. So there you go. And this is kind of par for the course that I've had down here, where things are out of level and out of square, and that's fine. It is what it is. So, but that's our new door. I like it. So here we are with the door. Everything's installed. You can see I've got some trim up. I still have some caulking and some painting to do on it, but we have all the trim up. And what actually ended up happening was I had to take this door off again. I had the trim off that was up there originally because we were putting new trim up. And what I ended up doing was actually taking the entire door frame out and reconstructing the door frame to make sure that it was plumb and level and square and everything on it was good. And I'm really glad I did, because originally when we put this door up, there was a lot of play up here. I mean, probably an inch, where the top of it, this corner was kicked out, the bottom was kicked in. So I'm glad I did that. And in having to do that, the other part of that, I'm going to show you real quick what I had to do. So what I had to do, if you remember the original door that we had, they had shaved off a little less than ½ of an inch. And so if this was actually framed properly, the 30-inch door should have fit in there perfect, because it came with a 30-inch door frame where it's already all together. So it should have fit in there right. But if they didn't put the frame in right, then obviously they had to cut the door, which they did. That happens. Life's short, you know, not a big deal. So because I reframed it, we had a really large gap on this side right here. You can see where this casing is. So with that gap, what I ended up having to do was I took, it was a 1/4-inch stock, and this is just MDF. So I just took a 1/4-inch MDF that I would use for a door panel or something. And I just ripped it 4½ inches down, all the way down, put the plate in, and then that bumped everything out. So that way everything looks nice and clean, and all the edges, everything on it is consistent. So it looks nice at the end of the day. And then our latch meets the way that it's supposed to. So this is a door that's not going to be used often, but it still needs to look good. So we still have some painting and stuff to do, but I'm happy with how this came out. All right, so I'm happy with how this came out. This is our door. This was our project for the day. And it wasn't overly complicated. It's not the easiest of projects, but it's not the most difficult either. It does take time. It does take precision measuring when you're doing these hinges on an existing door, because as I mentioned before, the spacing here, there isn't a lot of give, and you've got to be basically dead on your measurements for these to work out well. And so you just take your time on stuff like that, walk through step by step, go through the process, and this is something you can do at your house too. So I'm going to show you a couple other doors that we did here, and we're going to call it a wrap. Thanks, guys. So here's another door that we have here. This is to the workout room and another closet back here. So this door is going to be closed quite a bit. But you can see this is a really good upgrade. We've got all of our trim put in. Everything's been painted here. And the lines and the straight edges and everything just go really well together with the wainscoting. So love how they picked this out. Love the hardware on it. And I'm going to show you the next door that we got. So here's our third door here. And this door is going into the furnace room and utility and storage room that they have down here. This door is a little bit different in that it had to be custom built. So I built this door from scratch. And the reason I had to do that was because we had the bulkhead here that we couldn't just go buy a standard size door, because we needed the symmetry and all this to match up and look right, to match the other doors and the wainscoting. So I ended up building it from scratch. I might have some videos on that I'll throw out there. I know I didn't get them from front to back, so I have parts of videos. This door was a little bit of a grind. Same with the level and plumb and square and all that. So with this, on this door, I do have the trim up, but right here behind it, I actually have to build out here so we can get the latch and everything in. It was easier to do that than to fight with the door, and it made it easier. So we have a door handle to put on that we have ordered, should be in any day now. So we'll get that on, and then we'll finish, we'll get another coat of paint on here, paint a trim, and finish caulking and painting here. So a couple hours of work here, and we'll be good to go. So happy with this door. So I have one more door to show you, and it's my favorite door that we have, and this is the door going from the upstairs into the basement. And I like this door so much, I ended up ordering one and getting one for my house just because it's such a cool look. It's something I wanted originally, and then after I saw it here at this house, I'm all in, and I bought one for myself. So let's check that out real quick. So I love this door, this glass door that we put in. Love how it came out here. It gives some natural light that comes into the basement, but it's really cool from the upstairs. So I'm going to show you the upstairs view so we can take a look at that. This is the door, and this is looking at this door from upstairs in the kitchen going down into the basement. So again, it's really nice, especially with the detail that we did put into this project with the wainscoting going down the stairs. You can see the nice contrast here. Let me open this. You can see the nice contrast here with the handrail going down. And then same on the other side. They put a nice light up. So this is something that even if, you know, every day you're just walking by here, you get to enjoy the work that was done and the money that was spent to do this. So actually, absolutely love this door. And I think it will be very nice for them in the future. So here's another look at this door. It's just great. As you get to walk by it, you can enjoy looking down and seeing the wainscoting and the architecture of it. It's just a really neat feature to have. It's way better than having just a solid door. So huge fan of the door. Adding one to my house. All right, guys, if you made it to the end, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching the video. I hope I'm getting better at it. There's a lot to the filming and the editing. And one of the big kind of coups that I had just here in the very, very recently is I was using Adobe Premiere Pro to do all my editing. And that is some level of, you can make movies on it. There's so many features, so much to do. I mean, it could be a college course for 4 years just on that. So anyway, I found an app that has everything that I want it to have, that is very easy and simple. I can do it on my phone, and I'm super excited about that. So my last 20-minute video I did took me 12 hours to edit. This one took me 2, maybe. So it's a huge difference. So I'm going to be having more videos. I do appreciate it. Tell me what you like, what you don't like. I don't care. Keep popping out videos. Now that I'm wrapping up this big project here on this basement, and springtime's just around the corner, I'm going to be doing a lot more small handyman stuff, and I'm going to try to video some of that. And let me know if there's anything specific that you guys want to learn how to do that maybe I'm doing here recently. That I can knock out a video for you and show you how to. Just in the past week, I've changed out light sockets for people, switches, installed ceiling fan, made a new drawer for somebody, and fixed a broken drawer box in a vanity. So there's just all sorts of stuff that I do that maybe there's something out there that you guys want to see, and I'd be more than happy to make a video for you. So appreciate it, guys. Thanks a lot.